63 Cooking with Carl Camacho, and today we are cooking grown-up grilled cheese with a tomato basil bisque soup. Watch how easy it is to make it all come together. Let's go. So let's get started on the tomato bisque soup because it's going to take a little bit longer to cook. Anytime you hear about a tomato soup, it naturally just comes to me thinking what's the best sandwich? To have a grilled cheese with it. So that's why these two go together so wonderfully. So we're going to start out making the soup, like I said, because it takes longer. I'm going to cut out the root of the red onion. Okay, throw that away, and I'm just going to chop this because I'm going to use a blender at the end to bring everything together. So now, got those onions barely chopped. Turn your burner on. I'm going to turn the burner on medium high. So we're going to put in 6 tablespoons of butter. Okay, that's 1 stick minus 2 tablespoons. Okay, they go in. Now we're going to put in our onions, and it's okay that the burner isn't that hot yet because I'm not looking for a lot of color on this. Okay, so now onions go in. We're gonna get the onions going. When they get going, then we're gonna drop not too much of our garlic in. I'm gonna use 3 cloves. Garlic's going in. You add the garlic in after the onion because you don't want it to burn. And I'm using red onion instead of a white or yellow onion because the red onion is sweet. It's going to bring out the sweetness of these tomatoes. And you really do not want that to cook more than 15-20 seconds. Okay? Now, I'm going to add a 28-ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes. Okay, they've got their, and because this is a soup, not a sauce, I'm going to add a little bit of sugar, about 1, 2, 3 teaspoons, not to make it sweet, it just balances out the acidity of the tomatoes, so the soup will come together and all the flavors will marry very, very well. And also, what I like to do, it's optional for you, is I like to add just a little pinch of crushed red pepper. Why? Because I like crushed red pepper in almost everything. So there we go. Now, I'm gonna add half a cup if you've got chicken stock, if you got beef stock, if you have vegetable stock, whatever. To thin that out. Now, what I'll do is I'll bring this to a boil. When this comes to a boil, I'm going to simmer it for about 15 minutes. That's all it's going to take. And then I'm going to add cream and the fresh herbs. I've got a country loaf of bread right here, okay? So this country loaf of bread, you want it sliced somewhat thickly. I'm going to put down 2 sides. We'll go 2 sides down. Okay? Now, watch how easy and beautiful this is to make. Okay? Each side we're going to put different flavors on. Some honey. Okay? We're going to put honey right on this side. Just a little bit. You don't need too much. Now we're going to go right here on those loaves. On those pieces, not loaves. Okay? Boom. Now, I've got some fig jam here. You can buy this fig jam in any store nowadays. You can, I mean, even at the most basic grocery store, they have fig jam. Okay, why am I adding it? Because it brings out some sweetness of the cheese and makes it grown up. Fig jam is nothing more than pureed figs with a little bit of vinegar. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start building our sandwich. Okay, what do I have here? I have some aged, very sharp cheddar, okay? And you want this, you gotta trim a little bit off, trim a little bit off. You want it right to fit the sandwich perfectly. Okay, we're doing 2 here. You can make this as a main dish. You can make this as an appetizer. I'm gonna show you how to plate them both that way, okay? I got some aged provolone. All these cheeses are very easily accessible in any grocery store now, okay? So I got the aged prov. Now, I got some Big Eye Swiss. See, because here's the thing. The aged cheddar adds the sharpness. The provolone is nice and creamy. It adds a creaminess texture. The Swiss is nutty. It's real nutty, and all these different flavors are coming together to make one beautiful, harmonious symphony. Now, I'm gonna put some fresh mozzarella, and the mozzarella is just creamy. Now, we're not quite finished yet. Let's move this over here to make this just a little bit more even grown up, even more grown up. We're gonna slice an apple. Okay, I'm gonna slice it real thinly. And then you end up with these beautiful, beautiful thin slices of apple. Okay? Now, just put it right. We don't need to cover the whole thing. We just want a bite from each one. Now, get this together, and boom, over on top. You can do this with sourdough. I'm using a French country loaf. Don't just use regular sandwich bread, okay? Because it's the sandwich bread is too delicate and there's no texture to it. You're doing yourself a disservice. Let's go grill these up. Okay, so you want your pan on it about medium to a little bit of medium low. And look what I'm doing here. I'm not gonna butter the bread. I'm gonna actually butter and put the fat right in the pan. And the reason why I don't want this, hey, there's a reason why there's high, medium, and low, all right? It's because I don't want it to burn before my cheese melts. So, and I'm gonna show you a little trick I do. Here goes one. Do not overcrowd your pan. Put this right down. And you can hear it sizzle just a little. We don't want it to sizzle that much. We're gonna put this one down, and we're gonna leave them. Only flip this one time. We're gonna let this cook about 4 minutes on one side. Then we're gonna flip it, and I'm gonna show you how we put a crust on it. Okay, and as you can see, the soup is boiling away while we're waiting for our sandwich to cook. What we're gonna do now is, in order to make this a bisque or cream of tomato, we gotta add cream. So I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of cream. Then I'm gonna bring this to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, watch it, because it can boil over. We're gonna puree it and then add the fresh herbs to it. Let's go cut up some fresh herbs. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of fresh Italian parsley, about 1/4 cup. You just want to get it nicely chopped. We're gonna add some fresh basil. Okay, basil, all it does is say summer. All it does is say tomatoes. All it does is say, yeah, soak me up. Give me some love. And there we go. Okay, so let's add this to our pot and puree it. We put our fresh herbs in. As soon as we add our fresh herbs, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this down. I'm gonna turn it all the way off and give it a little stir, and then we're gonna go puree this up and make it into the bisque soup. Let's check these. Now you wanna watch them because you don't wanna burn them. Keep them on nice and low, and that's what you want. Nice golden brown. Okay, flip it on the other side. Now, let those cook for another couple minutes so the cheese gets all the way melted. Do not turn this up on high or else you'll burn your bread. Here's how you finish this soup. I like to add a little bit of cognac in there. I don't add the cognac in the beginning because it would take it all the way down. The flavor would, you'd hardly be able to detect it. I want it just to be detected, not the alcohol, but the flavor of the cognac. Okay? Now, I'm going to let that cook for only 45 seconds, then we're going to puree it up. Okay. Once you boil that off, bring it right over. Now, if you have a blender, you're going to do this in batches. Turn your stove off. You're going to do it in batches. If you're using a food processor, you're going to do it in batches. The reason why is because this is so hot, it expands. So if you put your lid on your blender and you just shot it on high, your whole lid would blow off and it'd go all over your shirt. You don't want to wear this, you want to eat it, okay? So this is my immersion blender. Now watch. I'm just going to go even a little bit with this. And you want the soup to be pretty fine. Let's get these wonderful grilled cheese off. Which, look at this. This is exactly what you want. Okay, let's look at the other side. It's just as toasted, not burned. The cheese is so melted. Oh, I want this right now. So I said I was going to show you how to plate this two different ways. One as a main course and another one as an appetizer course to really rock your guests. First, let's do the main course. Okay, got our tomato soup here. Let's get a bowl. The reason why we use white is because white pops everything. It's a perfect color. Okay, and this is really nicely pureed. Go in one. Let's go in two. Beautiful. And here we go. Oh, look at that. Look at this, nicely melted. And you want the points to go on the outer part. Okay? And just you want them just to peek out. Okay? Just as a little gift. Okay, showed you how to plate for a main appetizer portion or a main dinner portion. Either one of those would have worked. Now, let me show you something that's going to really blow your guests away. That costs very little amount of money. Okay? So, pick up one of these. You get one of these. Now, get your soup. And you're going to pour your soup in here, okay? I'm not going to use the ladle. I'm just going to pour it in. Okay? So now, I'm going to pour this in. And it doesn't matter. How many do you have? How many are you having over? Are you having over 6? Are you having 12? Are you having 30? Look, it's very simple. Now, they're not finished yet. We're going to add a little bit of the fresh herb. Okay, this is the fresh basil, parsley. Okay, now we're going to cut it once down the middle and once down. We go horizontally and vertically. Okay, and you can see this is still this just okay. Odd numbers. 1, 2, 3. Guess what? I want one in the middle to be a little hot, almost like a lemon wedge. I'm gonna pop it in just like this, and this one is going right on top, and this one is going right on top. This is not an individual portion. This is what you set out for your guests, and you say, okay, I have mini gourmet grilled cheese and tomato bisque shooters. I'm your new best friend. You do that. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching. This is Cooking with Carl Camacho. See ya next time. Hold on. Camacho, and today we are cooking grown up
mac and cheese.
You knew I was
I know, I knew it. Oh, you're missing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even in.
Hold on. First off, I don't need all your Uncle can't see.
You're missing all. It's all right.
Remember, Uncle can't see.